Behold, dear traveller, the wild Atlantic that kisses the ancient shores of Portrush, a jewel set in the crown of Northern Ireland's northernmost realm, a place where land, sky and sea weave together an eternal tapestry of beauty and awe. From time immemorial, this land has stood steadfast against the fury of the elements, its origins reaching deep into the mist of history. The port of the promontory, Portrush, a name that echoes its rugged geography, for it is nestled upon a peninsula stretching boldly into the Atlantic. In its earliest days, this haven was a humble fishing village, nourished by the sea and shielded by the cliffs. The fishermen, those sons of toil and salt, cast their nets into the wild waves, returning to their hearths with the bounties of the deep. These shores have cradled generations, their lives intertwined with the tides and winds of fortune. As the 19th century dawned, so too did the fortunes of this coastal hamlet. With the advent of the railway in 1855, Portrush blossomed into a thriving resort town, its shores no longer the domain of humble fishermen alone, but also a retreat for those seeking the tranquil embrace of nature. The railway, that iron vein of progress, linked Portrush to the heart of Ireland, inviting visitors to bask in its natural grandeur. Here on this wild coast, the wealthy and the weary alike would come to take the air, to walk along the Strand, and to gaze upon the distant horizon where the sky and sea meet in endless communion. No seaside town would be complete without amusements, and the Trefally family in 1926 opened what was affectionately known as Barry's Amusements in Portrush, and almost operated for 100 years. It is now passed to the Curry family of Galway, who own Curry's Fun Park, and has recently opened again here in March 2024. Since the commencement of building the harbour, the trade of the port has nearly doubled, and a regular communication by means of steam vessels have been established to Liverpool and Glasgow weekly, which is of great importance to the mercantile interests, and the increased dispatch and correspondence has joined by the establishment of a mail coach to Dungannon, thus opening an intercourse through the most extensive and flourishing district in the north of Ireland. The Clark Obelisk was erected in 1859 by admirers of Dr. Adam Clark, a popular Wesleyan minister and a famous expositor of the Bible. Some years earlier in 1881, a piece of ground was given by the Earl of Antrim to build a little Methodist church. It was used for a school on weekdays and for a church on Sundays, and from the belfry of this little church most likely proceeded the first sound of the church-going bell heard for generations in Portrush, as there had been no place of worship in the village since 1642. The same bell, which is still heard every Sunday, was presented to the Duke of Newcastle by the Emperor Alexander of Russia. The Duke of Newcastle made a present of it to Dr. Adam Clark, who gave it for the use of the Wesleyan Church. But it is the land itself, the very soul of Portrush, that draws forth the most ardent of affections. From the mighty promontories that guard its coast to the sweeping sands of East Strand, the landscape here is nothing short of sublime. The town of Portrush, though shaped by time and change, retains the charm of its storied past. Here where fishermen once mended their nets and traded their catch, now stand the remnants of centuries gone by. The old harbour where the salt of the sea mingles with the whispers of history remains a sentinel to those simpler days. These streets, though small, have witnessed the passage of the ages. They bear the marks of both hardship and joy, the echo of horse hooves on cobblestones, and the laughter of children playing under the watchful gaze of their mothers. Here life unfolds in quiet harmony, ever accompanied by the sound of the distant sea. The White House, Portrush, was founded in 1891 by Henry Hamilton. Hamilton and Company was renamed shortly after its opening to the White House to honour the owner's American connections. The White House became one of the most successful businesses due to its organised owner, an innovative mail-order service, and not to mention, before his time, advertising campaigns. The mail service so popular, a new post office was opened in Portrush in 1908. In 1837, the principal trade of the town was with Liverpool, Whitehaven, the Clyde and Campbelltown, the chief imports being that of timber, coal, iron, barilla and general merchandise, the exports being linen cloth, provisions, grain, livestock, poultry and eggs, and during the season from May to September, that of large quantities of salmon. In latter years, Portrush would become a holiday resort town, and great hotels would be built to house all the visitors. But sadly, as time went on, like all seaside towns, cheap flights to the continent would see their demise, and the crowds that once filled these shores would sadly disappear. To stand upon these cliffs of Portrush, to breathe the salt air, is to step into a world where time slows and the soul finds solace in the vastness of nature's embrace. The beauty of Portrush is not fleeting, nor confined to the eye alone. It speaks to the heart, to the soul that seeks something beyond the clamour of this world. Here in this place of rock and wave, of wind and sky, one may find the peace that only the natural world can bestow. And so, dear traveller, may you too find solace in this northern haven, where the hand of time has sculpted a land both wild and wondrous, where the spirit of Portrush lingers, eternal and serene.